Alright, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD, or Application and Website Development Program, and in particular, the AWD1100 C# Programming Fundamentals class, I'm doing a series of video presentations on the textbook we're using for the class, that textbook being Muroc C# 2015. And the book has 26 chapters, and I'm right now have just started on Chapter 3, how to code and test a Windows Forms application. And in particular, I put some code, or associated some code with the exit button. Now in the book, they just say this.close, which means when you click that button, what you want to have happen is you want the program to end. I added some extra code here. We have not explained any of it, but let's do a file save all and let's run the program. Now I'm going to put that over here and I'm going to click the exit button. And I want us to be able to see what goes with what. Notice here, exit program now. That's this text right here. Exit program, question mark, exclamation point, question mark. That's up here. Message box buttons, yes, no. That's here and here. Message box icon information, that's here. So what we did was we told the system when you click the exit button, rather than just closing the program, we asked the user, do you want to exit the program now? This is the text. This is the title. These are the buttons we have associated with this. And this is the kind of message we're asking. So what you see in this thing right here, this is called a message box. You can leave one or more of these components empty, but normally you fill them all up. So you'll give it a title, some text, some associated buttons, and an icon. Notice if I click no, I just stay right where I am. But if I click yes, the program stops running. That's what I wanted to show you. So this code that runs in here, that is the code that runs if I click this button. What if I click this button? Well, first let's think about what we want to have happen. There's 5 things that we want to have happen if we click the clear button. We want whatever is in here to clear out. We want it to be empty like it is now. Same thing here, same thing here, same thing here. Finally, we want our cursor to be right there so we're ready to enter a new subtotal. How do we do that? Well, first we double click on the clear button. And the order in which we clear those boxes out doesn't matter. So I'm going to do them from top to bottom. And what do I mean? I'm going to say text box subtotal dot text equals double quote. That's called the empty string, which means clear it out. Next, text box discount percent, whoops, dot text. We want that to equal double quote. Now notice I'm getting errors. Why? Because this should have been a capital B, this should have been a capital D, this should have been a capital P. Notice as soon as I put those in, it changes. So if I type it right to begin with, or I use the IntelliSense, so text box discount amount, so I highlight it, hit the tab key, boom, puts it in for me. Dot text equals double quote. Finally, text box total dot text equals double quote. That right there, putting in these 4 lines, will clear out whatever's in these 4 boxes. And the other thing I want to do is I want the cursor to go here to that field. So this one has to be last. Well, it doesn't have to be, but this one has to be after that one is. So we say dot focus, which means put the cursor there. If you want to be anal about this, tab, tab, tab. Whoops, let me try it again. So notice I can go in and line up my equal signs. You don't have to do that. All right. So now I'm going to do another file, save all, and I'm going to run the program again. Now remember, I can't put values in here. They'll be put in later, but I can put whatever I want to put in here. Now if I click clear, it clears it out and it puts my cursor right there. If I click exit and say yes, the program stops running. So what I'm telling you is I now have 2/3 of my code done, because I've got what happens when I click this button and when I click that button. Those are both finished. All right. So I've got to figure out what I want to have happen when I click the calculate button. All right. So I just showed you this. Here's some common events. Notice the click event, so when you click the button on a form, but there's other things too. We'll get into some of these as we go on in here. Some of these we'll just never talk about. Why? Because they're very rarely, if ever, used in the kind of applications that we will be creating. And again, I'm not saying they're never used. I'm saying in the types of applications we're creating, they're just very seldom used. All right. How an application responds to events. All right, let's make this a little bigger, so we'll start running this again. There we go. Windows form applications work by responding to events that occur on objects, like clicking a button. But that button will only actually do something if we put some code with it. So to do that, as it says there, this is known as event wiring, because we're writing one or more lines of code to wire the event up to the way we want to handle it. All right, now they're talking about calculate right here. So the object that we want is a button object that we called BTN calculate, or I called button calculate. And the event that we want it to respond to is the click event. I already showed you this. I double clicked and I wrote some code. All right. Now, let's see what code they put in here. So, the way I'm going to do this is going to look a little bit weird. Sorry about that, but I'm trying to show it to you the kind of the most intuitive way possible. So, we've got here decimal subtotal equals convert, whoops, dot to decimal, and ours is, remember, called text box subtotal dot text decimal discount percent equals 0. So those first two lines that you see here, we're going to now put into our code. So now I want to double click on the calculate button and put that in. Now you'll notice we get here, it's gray, okay, but it's also, and I spelled that wrong. There we go. But it's still going to give us that problem. It's not an error. It's a warning saying we've got this variable in here and we're not using it. All right, so technically we really don't need it. All right. So this is the other code that we want to put in right there. I'm at 10 minutes, so I'm going to put the code in, and then we'll discuss it in the next chapter. So we've got these two lines, but I've got to keep putting, let's see. So I put in those two lines there, okay? And I'm going to just keep typing. So if subtotal is greater than or equal to 500, oops, yeah. All right, then we want to say the discount percent equals 0.2m, which means 20%. All right, else if the subtotal is between 250 and 499.99, I like to put in extra parens here, so I'm sure exactly that I know what's going with what. So if that's the case, the discount is 15%. Okay, sorry about that. I'm moving these around and I'm not trying to. Oops, just want to be earlier. All right. So if that's the case, the discount percent is equal to 0.15m. M is for decimal. All right, that's just the way they did it. Else, if the subtotal is between $100 and $249.99, then the discount percent is 10%. Otherwise, I'm going to guess here, there is no discount percent. Nope. So, decimal discount amount equals the subtotal times the discount percent, and the invoice total is equal to the subtotal minus the discount amount. And what else do we have here? All right, and we're almost done putting our code in there, but it's still not going to be complete. And let me just run it for you. We're butting up close to 15 minutes. So let me stop that, or just move that out of there. And let me bring this up. Now I'm going to grab all that code that I just put here into my editor. And I'm going to put it all right there. All right. So discount amount. Okay. Invoice total. It's giving me it doesn't like discount percent because it keeps spelling it wrong. There we go. That fixed all that. All right. Now, I'm going to save this right now very quickly. So do a file, save all. I'm going to run the program. It will let me put 225 like we had before, but if I click calculate, I don't get anything else. I can clear. I can add exit. Yes, I want to exit. We'll finish this up, hopefully, or as much as possible, in the next lesson in just a couple minutes.